Well, good evening. Welcome back. It was a short break and I still haven't finished my coffee, so there may be slipping going on at the start of this match. We're back for the winner's side match tonight, which is going to start in a couple of minutes' time between Sergeresh and HAZAD. Sergeresh has just arrived in the lobby. Sergeresh from Belarus, according to that flag, and HAZAD, we'll call HAZAD a Spanish exile. Because he's from England but spends most of his time in Spain apparently. But this match is going to get underway in a few minutes, and in case you didn't see earlier, Stubb has arranged his match with Jeeves. It's going to be tomorrow night, that third round match, and I'll be there for that one. And this match, the winner will go through to play either Jeeves, Stubb or Chico. That's basically it. And now all we're doing is waiting on the room going up. Again, I don't know about you, Cobra, but I don't think I've really sat and watched Jeeves do anything in any game. Although I think has he been in Friday Night 9-ball occasionally? I don't know. But 8-ball might be his game. In fact, just before the room goes up, who's he played before? Let's have a look. Well, he beat... Oh, where the hell is he? He beat Columbus 11-5. I think he had a bye from the first round. The look of it. Oh no, Sergeresh beat Jover as well in the first round. So Sergeresh has got a couple of matches under his belt. Let's get into the room. And we're ready for the lag. Well, I think Sergeresh's queue hasn't loaded. I presume that's him in the top. Or it might be HAZAD. I'm confused again. The queue may well load. So HAZAD wins the lag. Of course, winner's side match, race to 11. HAZAD going for the central break. One ball in the side. And cue ball way up table. But these balls have split very nice. They've all got a nice comfortable gap between one another. So this is an exercise in controlling the cue ball. Welcome back, Cobra, Bedhead. Hairpig's just not got the staying power that I've got. He's probably in a dark room having a lie down now after all that exertion. Can't last the distance. Welcome back, Mark. Welcome back, Dwight. So still an open table because HAZAD called the missed call. And of course, with Sergeresh playing the solids, we have one main issue now. In the bottom left hand side. Good evening to Jose. I wonder how long Jose can stay awake. I'm sure he's due another siesta. So we're calling Sergeresh 11-8 Bedhead and HAZAD for Cobra in a final rack decider. And already we've got the first real unforced error from Sergeresh. Well, I think HAZAD I mean, I never saw the shot because again I was too busy reading the chat, but I'm assuming he called a ball in a pocket and the opposite happened, and so the game then therefore calls the missed call because of it. I mean, essentially, as far as I'm aware, it's still a called shot game. Even if it's an open table, you still have to call the ball in the pocket, in theory. Well, HAZAD's taking care of the issue. He could have finished better. On this 13 ball. A little test of control, but again, he's getting far too much juice into that. He didn't need to play that. He just needed a little soft draw to hold for the 8. Again, it was a sort of, it was an uncontrolled shot because he's absolutely really nowhere in the 8 ball. And Sergeresh has got nothing easy, and that's a bit of good fortune for HAZAD. But HAZAD's going to now be in trouble because Sergeresh has missed the cut, which is probably the best outcome. And HAZAD's now hooked. Now, Sergeresh is more than likely going to get another shot at this, and he has to do it if he's going to be pushing HAZAD. And he might get lucky here, you never know. Well, he made a good attempt at it. But Sergeresh now has the table at his mercy and really cannot fail here. I don't mean that he cannot fail, it's so easy, he simply cannot fail. Period. And another little, just a dinky kill shot. Now I think he's dead straight. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, and that's where it's all gone pear-shaped. He hasn't gone back far enough. And this will be sore if he can't put this away. But in it goes. So, in the end, it's a good start for Sergeresh against the break. As I said when I started the stream, I went to get a coffee and I still haven't finished it. So, if you hear the odd slurp, please excuse me because I'm not muting the mic because that makes that buzzing noise. But I definitely need a caffeine fix. Well, there isn't an issue with the stripes down the table here. The angle that Sergeresh has got in the 14's not really helping. If he was a bit further out into the table, he could have dropped behind either of those 2 balls. And he could play that now. What I worry about is if he leaves those balls till too late on, even though the 8 ball's down there, the concern is will he ever get as good on the 14 again? And see, now he's in a situation where he's going to be running into balls. And he could make a good position here, a good setup with these balls, worse with this hit. And that's exactly what's happened. He should have taken that earlier when he had the chance to actually drop over behind those 2, and now he's well, he's not got the angle to get into the 12 from this 9 anyway. So better take his medicine and leave that 1 ball tied up as it is. In fact, nothing to stop him just putting that 9 ball somewhere up the table slightly if he wanted, but he does not want to bring the one into play. And well, I don't know what he was thinking, but he simply just fell straight into the trap of giving HAZAD a free go here. And that was not that was never in my plan. That one ball would have been left there, it wouldn't have been touched. Obviously you have to improve the situation. He's took that risk that HAZAD can't get the job done, and I suppose tactically it's putting a bit of pressure on HAZAD as well, considering he's already 1-0 down. So let's see if he can deliver. Well, he's gone inside the 7. And now he has to get this cue ball under control. He's taking a 6 instead. Now there are 3 goes. He has to drop through, or does he want to just play the straightforward stun? If he doesn't get on it, he's on the 7. Well, he may well have tried that. And now this requires a delicate control shot here. And he's just managed to hold it. But I have to say, Sergeresh, I'm afraid you made the wrong shot choice, and you're going to pay the price for it. And that was just a fatal move when he had that there as an emergency backup, and he just sold out. And HAZAD took the chance, so well done to HAZAD, and 1 out of 10 for Sergeresh in his tactical choice there. And HAZAD's break, giving him a couple of balls. We've got the 6 and 8 locked up. We've got the 7 and 14. He may well play that. I don't know whether he's going to have much other choice, but it'll be one way of getting rid of the 14, because I think that's pretty much dead set. Yeah. And the stripes, apart from that, have an issue with this 1 ball. But if you can get up the table, obviously pot the 11, you can take the 10 down the rail, take care of that. But of course you can't, now that I've just realised the 7's there. Well, the 10 does go past the 7, but it doesn't give an awful lot of room for manoeuvre. But that'd be one way of getting it done. It'd also be good for HAZAD to actually break and run, just to hammer home that error from Sergeresh in the last rack. Well, he's gone too far out to be comfortably taking that 10 ball. The question is now is whether that 13 is going to be any good to him. Well, that looks way too tight to be trying to cheat the pocket, I think. Now you can see the 15, but you know he's got a slim chance of getting good. But that's well played, even though it's hit the 7. And now he's sitting pretty nice on the 13. But the 8 ball has limited availability, shall we say, i.e. 1 pocket it's gone in. So this is another little test of this draw shot, just up the rail and not too far. If he gets too much into this, he's going to hook himself. If he doesn't get there, he's going to have one of these really awkward square cuts, and well, he's not even got there. It's a tough 8. But well played. Where's the cue ball going though? Cue ball. Oh, that is a bit of a disaster. That is unlucky there. But, you know, has to be said though, if you end up getting yourself that far out of shape, you're going to end up having to have no option, running into another ball, cutting the 8, and anything can happen. And that's basically what did happen. What's that? That Rob in the room? You're too late, Rob. Got to be here before the match starts and let me know. And you could have typed that in the stream rather than in the room. That's another bit of tactical advice. Yes. Yeah, you're going for the ball on, you foul in the 8 ball. Game's a bogey. Even in the old pub pool I played, that's what happened. But anyway, Sergeresh has got a bonus of getting that rack, and HAZAD will be desperate to redeem himself. And he's chipped away the 3, but he's not really put it into a favourable position anyway. It's off the rail, but it's awkward, really awkward, and just as awkward as the 1. So HAZAD's going to take the risk of just trying to improve the situation. He's calling the 3 into the corner. If it doesn't go, he wants to hit this at pocket pace though, so that it stays there or thereabouts. He doesn't want to be slamming this. Well, in the end, I don't know what he ended up doing. Somebody translate that into Spanish. Where's Chico when you need him? But the important one now is Sergeresh at the table. He's going to have to get nice on that, what looks to be the 10 ball now. He can cut the 10 ball now, but the cue ball is running back across the table. He's taking the 9 and he'll be running into the 1. Well, he's trying to drag it off, and he's leaving himself the combo. I mean, this is not a difficult combo. It's pretty much dead, even though there's a wee bit of distance between them. But the big test is going to be getting from the 13 onto the 8. And his chances are that if he can drag this off, he's going to leave himself a cut at middle distance here. But that's probably as good as he could expect to get there on that 8 ball. And it's a good rack to win. And we've got daylight already. And Sergeresh with a 3 racks to 1 lead. And HAZAD on his break is going to look to try and redeem himself once again, but it's dry. And again, these balls, I mean, this is probably one of the best racks, or the best layout that you could see. That there's not really a bad ball in the table, and Sergeresh could really pounce here. First shot, I would reckon the stripes are well favourite here. Well, this could be a big move for Sergeresh at 3-1 to take this out and widen that gap and apply the pressure on HAZAD. Now, he didn't quite get there. I think he maybe tried to get on the 9 there. Let's see. Well, he can still see the 9, so maybe not. I thought he couldn't see it. Now looking to get rid of that 15. How's the line? Well, the worry is what he tries to do with the cue ball off that 15. He doesn't fancy it, because if he just hit it, he'd probably run into the 6. He'd still have a combo up the table. Now he's got a slightly better line. And the one thing with the combo is it's fairly straight, so if he can get fairly straight behind it like that, I mean, that's a good shot. He's checked that up to hold the line, and that means that this 14 ball shouldn't be squirting away anywhere. It should be staying there or thereabouts over the pocket, but he has to play a delicate one to get on this 8. It's not the 14, it's the 10. Right, well, there is a gap in behind the 1. Oh, that's nice. It just needs to keep going. He's played that extremely well. Dead weight. The touch is pretty good there. And that's a good sign for Sergeresh's prospects later on in this match. Because now he's got a comfortable lead. 4 racks to 1. But I think we're back to the old routine again. It's dry. And I'll just finish my coffee. Ah, that was lovely. Right, I can concentrate now. Well, what's happened here? Somebody's tilted the table from the top end. They need a couple of beer mats and these 2 legs at the bottom of the table to get rid of that big roll. And HAZAD up against it, because he's going to feel the pinch to try and get himself back into this match, and then it's a question of whether the discipline will stay, because that's what you need. You need to be disciplined. Well, that's a tradition, isn't it, Mark? You're older. What are you talking about? How old are you? I mean, what did you could tell me what they probably put under the table legs before beer mats became fashionable. Probably a Rizzler box. Well, HAZAD has taken the stripes, and he's got no shot, I don't think. He's got absolutely nothing. I'm trying to run for some sort of cover. Sergeresh back at the table, and he's got some work to do now. He's going to play this little combo, and even if it doesn't go in, he'll control the pocket. He's just got to pinch the rail and the 7 ball at the same time, like that. Again, that's played perfectly. Now, he might not. He might. If I don't know whether he'll miss this 5 ball. Let's have a look. Just to drop into the gap. That'll do it, and he can take care of that 1 ball. Now the 14's obviously a blocker now on the 3, but if he can then stop, I think he wants to just be jacking up a wee bit to kill this cue ball to take the 5, so he can get rid of that 3. The other issue though is he might want to take the 6 to try and get to the 8, and that's not easy either. So this rack's in a bit of a knife edge, especially as far as HAZAD's concerned. Good evening, Slim. Oh, there's that Dutch guy. Oh well, this is the big test for Sergeresh. He's taking a 6. And the next big test is the cut in the 3. But how, I mean, the path of this cue ball, depending on what he does with the cue ball, can come across to the 8. If he misses the traffic, well, he's overcut it. And now the pressure is on for HAZAD. He's got 4 of his balls all wide open and no excuse. But 4-1 down at the time. Nice little angle in the 14. Let's have a quick look, see how that looks from there. How has he got there? Well, this is a little stun into the middle and drop behind the 8 if he wants. Or is he just going to slow roll it? Well, it went in off the jaw, but he's got there. Well, I'm reasonably impressed with Sergeresh so far. I mean, that wasn't a difficult out for HAZAD. He simply had to get it, and he's pinched it against the break, and he's got a ball. And once again, there's a little bit of well, not necessarily clustered, but it's just a bit busy at the bottom of the table here. But if you can pick the bright balls, you can find your way out. And HAZAD will be able to get rid of those 3 stripes straight away, and he'll have one option on that 12. Sorry, the 13 on the right side up past the 7 to drop down. Now, can he drop down far enough for that? Well, that's no good looking at it there, because that's no good angle to get to the 12. So the critical shot's going to come up soon enough as to how he gets to this 12. And I think he's dead straight pretty much in the 14. Having to run it loose. And a little kiss here or there is at least still giving him a shot, but there's the issue. And the even bigger issue is he's pretty much straight on this 13. Well, this could well be a test also for Sergeresh in a minute or two, unless HAZAD can somehow find some sort of miracle way of getting on this 12. Yeah, it was a slim to 0 chance he had of doing anything there, so that's a missed call. And of course the 5 ball is an issue for Sergeresh in one pocket. If he can get this side, he's not a problem. The trouble is though, all his balls apart from 1 are all up the table, so he's going to have to play a good positional shot to drop down for this 5. Or better still, if he gets too far down on the left side for the 2, he can get back up for the 5 into the left corner as we look. So that could be an option. And he needs an angle though. And I would settle for that. He might be just a bit straight though. Well, he's putting bottom right. That's going to check it square to try and get a breakout. He needed a bit more juice though. But nevertheless, it's still only available into the one corner pocket. And if he plays this at the right pace like that, it means that if he misses it, HAZAD's not going to have a shot. And again, that was good thinking. You know, you don't want to be slamming at that 3 and letting the cue ball run when you don't need to. If you get it over the pocket, fine. If the cue ball finishes there, you've still got a shot. And if it finishes where it has finished, HAZAD's got nothing. But that is not a bad shot, because it forces Sergeresh into having to cut the 1. And, well, he's trying to draw away from the 3 to make sure he doesn't hit it. Well, he's not shown any signs of nerves, Sergeresh, because he's played that well and he's controlled the pace well. He might be just too straight. He's got a slight angle. And trying to get that stun draw working, and it's done pretty well. And the only way this is going to go wrong is if he gets too much into this and hooks himself behind the 8. Well, again, he's checked the cue ball up to take everything like that out of the equation. Testy little 6. He needs to try and take evasive action here as well. Oh, it's done him. Just awkward. And HAZAD has his lifeline. Well, this doesn't look difficult. A good draw off this ball down the left side of the table. Oh, he's got far too much juice in it. And HAZAD has not learned the stun draw. And there's evidence of that. I don't know whether HAZAD ever watches the streams, but, you know, if he had done, surely he would have went away and tried a stun draw rather than juicing it up, big deep bottom in the cue ball and doing something daft like that. And that's gone. It's another one. It's the second rack that HAZAD has had a go and scratched and gifted Sergeresh the rack. But somebody could record that draw that he played there and show it to him and try and explain to him where he's going wrong, because that shot was so badly executed. You only needed where that ball was what, something like that, and the cue ball was there. Sorry, the line with the stun draw is up to about there for the 8 ball, and he just decides to juice it up all the way down, ends up hooking himself. But it's 5-2 to Sergeresh, and that was self-inflicted damage there for HAZAD. But he wants to go and practice his technique a bit. He was digging far too deep in the cue ball. I mean, the top guys in the tournament would never have played that, never in a month of Sundays. And that's going to be ball in hand, I think. HAZAD has lost the place there. Hasn't got the ball to a rail. Table wide open, apart from maybe a slight problem up here in terms of the stripes, which is why Sergeresh isn't interested on the solids. Well, many of you guys, even you, Mark, for example, have tried the stun draw. I think pretty much most of the top players know what I'm talking about. You know, just like half a Q-tip below the equator, no more, but it's the pace of the shot that gets that stun working, and then the reaction comes where it draws back. Yeah, oh no, it's solids. And it amazes me why you look at that shot and you don't see that's the option that you have. You know, Hazard's been around long enough, surely, to know that you have to control that cue ball. And that was a totally out of control cue ball there. And he should know better. I've never, in all my days, ever called them spots. Spots are what you get when you have acne and measles. Well, I think, Cobra, my point exactly, deep draw is okay when you're getting into an open table and you've got lots of room to work with. But when you're drawing down the left-hand side of the table, what's the biggest issue? The biggest issue was his last ball sitting near the 8, and he draws down to the bottom left side, which is where the cue ball was going to go anyway with the angle that he had. And the only thing that could ruin it was finishing behind the 8 ball. So when you see that happening, then you know there is no way that you would have played the deep draw there. Tell me you would never have done that. You would have played the stun draw to get past the middle pocket, open the table up, no problem, bang, in goes the 8 ball. As I say, it's a bit lost on me why HAZAD played that shot like that when he knows fine well that's not the way to control the cue ball. But there's more bad news for HAZAD, because it's 6-2 now. Well, Sergeresh has committed himself to the stripes, and once again these stripes, I mean, this is a gimme. The 8 ball goes past, or does it? Let's have a quick look. Oh, that's too tight to be trying to get there. But I mean, he's got the 9 ball, or whatever the hell it is, the 12 ball, that one. He's got the 12 ball to lie stone dead on the 8 if he wants to squeeze it past the 1. He's having a look at it just to make sure. So this is all about execution, this. And I don't think he could have played that much better. And he has to trust that line through the 8 ball into that left side of the pocket. Again, very well played, Sergeresh. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Slim. You know what I'm talking about, the power stun. You hit it, you hit the shot with more pace than you would normally hit if you were just potting the ball. But you get the stun draw, which means that it's a much more reliable way of controlling the distance that cue ball's going. And I keep talking about how you play it, but as I say, it's just totally baffled me that HAZAD just got straight down and bang, big zip in the cue ball. I mean, that's what a player that's relatively recent to the game or just hasn't learned anything would play. Just big draw and try and look spectacular, and get lucky and find a way onto that ball. You know, it's just a bit naive to be playing that sort of shot. And, you know, it's even more... the bigger point to be made from that is the fact that he's now 7-2 down. You know, I mean, that could have been a vital rack. And I think it's basically went downhill since then. HAZAD trying his best there to get an improvement. But he's going to have to get a nudge here one way or the other, because there's 7 balls blocking the 11. And once again, immediately, Sergeresh becomes the favourite for this rack. No, you don't, Larry. Are you trying to tell me, Larry, you've been winding me up all the time, but me still thinking you've got a trackball mouse and you told Cobra you don't? Is that exactly it? Well, as I said to Cobra that night, I said, well, if Larry's got a normal mouse, then he's playing a lot of crap shots with it. He wants to get the DPI dialed in. I thought you told me you had a Logitech, the new Logitech mouse, and you showed me a picture of it. The new trackball one. I think with the finger things on the top of it. Well, Sergeresh is just as big a favourite for this rack. And of course, HAZAD's going to try and hit the 8 ball, and all that's going to do is improve Sergeresh's chances of running out. Well, maybe not so, because he's got a good solid hit in the 8 ball and he's left those 2 balls there. Now we know that they both go this side. They're not set as a combo. So Sergeresh here can play a good firm draggy draw. He's just overcooked it slightly. And he's obviously going to run into the 3, and it's going to go somewhere that we don't really know where it's going to go yet. And also the other worry would be the cue ball, so I'd be coming back off that, and at worst maybe finishing in a rail for the 1 ball. Well, there are times when you make choices in the game, and that wasn't it, because that's a sellout from Sergeresh. And what was that one he did earlier in the match where he moved the ball that was locked up in the top rail to let HAZAD come in and pinch it, and that is a complete sellout there. So there's been 2 occasions where Sergeresh has given HAZAD racks by silly shots, and that's one of them. I mean, he tried to play the safety, and if you're ever going to make a decision and play a safety, and all your opponent has to do is pot the 8 ball, then you've got to make damn sure you get the cover. And that was not well thought out, I'm afraid. So, big mistake there. And if you're going to get how many times to repeat this? If you get a player down, you don't want to give them any encouragement to get back in. And Sergeresh has just done that there. It'll be interesting to see if HAZAD can find a way out here. Now, does that 13 go? Yes, it does. And from where he is now, he wants to be taking that out and stunning for the 9 probably. But the worry about the 9 is he's now got a nice angle. You know, he had to make sure he was at an angle where he's not going to be running into the 8. Well, he's left it, so now he's got to get behind it again, and the big mistake here is that when he pots the 9, he's going to run into the 8, and that again is the wrong choice of shot. Wrong choice. He should have took the 9 when he had the chance without an angle of running into the 8. Now he's got to make sure he keeps the 8 in play, which he has done, but he shouldn't have been there in the first place. But it's a relief for HAZAD, and it's a 2 rack swing there, or what, a many rack swing, 3 rack swing basically. Could have been 8-2. And it's now back to within 3. He's not dead and buried yet. And HAZAD might warm to the task, having been gifted that rack from Sergeresh. It might give him all the more focus. Oh dear, what's he done here? He's left himself nothing. That's a bad one. He had to get out into the table. And he's got absolutely nothing. I mean, look. What's he going to do there? Try and hide, but he's always going to leave something on. And this set down the table here, that's not a problem with the combo. Nothing to worry there. It's just about getting down the table one way or another. There's the problem ball. 9 ball over the side. So that's the lifeline for HAZAD. Because it doesn't go either way, up or down the table. And it would take a great shot to get somewhere on that 9 at such a tight distance from it and the rail to be able to pot it. He doesn't want to do something crazy here. Well, he's done that. He's tried to bring it into play. And let's see. Well, he would have had the combo. He would have still had that combo. But from this position, HAZAD has got to get out. If he wants to leave his 5 ball as the last ball, then it's another shot that's going to test him, because depending on what angle he has, it's going to be a test of his control of the cue ball to get up high enough to play that 8 if he's going to play it in a corner. And right now, though, he won't be doing that because he's got himself nailed to the 1 ball. And this is, well, it's a chance for Sergeresh. He's got the cut. A little brush onto the 12. He may well have to cut that in as well. I don't know whether he wants to be chipping at this 15, because he's going to run up the table and have to be on the 12. Unless he really nurses it in. And it needs to keep going. Even though it's going further away and further away, it's opening up the pot. Well, this again needs a controlled shot. You've got to dig into this just to stun past the 8. I don't know whether he wants to try and run through into the gap. He might be. He's played the stun. He's got a little spin around the corner. But has he got a shot? Well, this is all or nothing. Because this is a lot tougher than the way it was originally sitting, I think. You've basically got to forget about the second ball and play the first ball as a pot. You know, if you get the line right for the first ball, it's, you know, the laws of physics are it's going to hit the second ball on line and take it into the hole. But he didn't get there. But more importantly, HAZAD now has this problem that I mentioned about earlier. The problem is the 5 ball. The 5 ball's not a problem potting it, but HAZAD wants to get himself up and as close to this 5 ball as he dare. So he's got a lot less to do with the cue ball, because that control's going to be tested here. And he's done exactly what I said. He's now left himself big distance and fairly straight. So now it's a test of the control. And dare I say it, he's left himself one of these no man's land pots. A nasty cut. But in it goes. And he's suddenly only back to within 2 now. Good evening to LS3. Well, we've got the 9 ball stuck to the 8 in the middle of the table. And I don't think, let's have a quick look, well, the 8 ball's not going anywhere there, so it's one of these racks where either player, whatever they choose, they've got work to do. And Sergeresh immediately was trying to improve that situation. He hasn't been successful. We've got, I think he's locked out in the 6 as well. Let's have a quick look. Well, he's got the 1 as a backup. The 3 ball, I think, no it doesn't. It's way too tight. Yeah, that 10 ball's in the way. Well, that's another issue for Sergeresh. Now, the 5 ball's the one to take right now, and he's just not getting to that at all. He's nursemaided that cue ball there, and he's got, well, can he get enough from that side? Maybe he can. Let's have a quick look before he plays it. Yes, he can. I think the angle he's got is actually pretty good. Oh, maybe that's a foul, I think. No, it isn't. It was a legal shot. Well, he'll settle for that, because guess what? HAZAD's got nothing again. I mean, he's got an extremely crazy 10 ball, if that's the 10 ball there. He's got a dicey 12 running into the 3. I think he hit the 10 ball first. And the good thing about that shot that he played is he hasn't disturbed the 8. So it's anybody's rack. But I think this is a vital point in this match. This rack could well have a bearing on the overall outcome. Once again, Sergeresh playing the attacking shot. Well, they haven't opened wide, but they're wide enough to be able to pot the 3. Oh, it needs to keep going. Now, the biggest problem now, of course, is he's entirely the wrong angle in this 3 ball. The 8 ball is tight anyway, but he's not going to be getting that side yet unless he plays some sort of miracle shot. Yeah, he was trying to get across the table twice. Really tough shot. In fact, of course, he pretty much got there, but look at where he's stuck. But it's another one of these racks where HAZAD has been given the chance. Now, the other bit of bad news is that this 9 ball is a slight problem, but he can, if he gets that side of it, he's not got anything lined up that's anywhere near easy to play that cobble. So he's taking the 15. But now he has to be concerned about how he gets to this 9 ball. Now, if he leaves the 14, he has to be fairly straightish in this 14 if he can help it, unless it's into the side or down the rail. One way or another, he has to be making it good and easy to drop through on that 9. Well, he's run into it. The cue ball's still going to be running either way. But it now frees the 8 ball up, and it's all there for the taking. And he really should be back within 1. He doesn't want to get close to the rail though. Well, this is where you make sure you hit this. So he's going to take the 14 first. If he's going to run through, he's just dropping this in to take the 14 down the rail. And that keeps it simple. See, this you can't nursemaid it in. You've got to make sure you get it to the hole. So if you chicken out, you're not going to get there. So he's played the right shot. Now just a normal stun shot holds that cue ball in reasonable line. And suddenly we've got a game on. And, well, that there's been two big mistakes by Sergeresh, but the second one may well be the most penal because it's really got HAZAD in the habit now of winning racks. And Sergeresh, of course, now in his break with a ball, and there's lots of work to do here to try and get out. Cue ball's leaking away up the table. 8 ball, in fact, he's hit the 8 ball first. That's another mistake, and the mistakes are coming all too often now for Sergeresh. But still an open table, so this is we're issued out in here, the way these balls are set, and of course the two stripes are not doing anything there. So obviously solids is going to be the favourite. Now it looks like the 6 ball in the stun into the, is that the 11? No, it's not, it's the 13 again. We actually hit the 1 first, which I don't think's done any harm at all. Now, is he going to cut this 4 and miss the 3 and the 1 and come across and suddenly find himself in the 5? It's hard to say with the line that he's got. He looks as if he's drawn off it to avoid running into them. Well, he's at least making sure he can see the 5. And now it's easy enough to drop the 5 in. But he has to go off this rail and out slightly. He doesn't want to be stuck to the rail. And that will do, because all he's doing now is rolling the 3 in, roll through to the rail, and a fairly straight in 1 ball to hold for the 8. And we're all square. Well, let's have a look. That's not a problem. Well, HAZAD's now been given that encouragement to settle in, and he's taking full advantage of it. And now the pressure all switches on to Sergeresh because he's seen a big lead go, and as we all know, an alternate break in any type of game format, it's tough when you're trailing. You always need that assistance from your opponent, and HAZAD has taken advantage. And now HAZAD with first shout on his break, but again we've got a mess, and this maybe looks that he can pot that 10, nudge into the 9 I think it is, and just hope that he still has a shot, because again if he plays it he's got to take the risk, and there's no guarantee he will have a shot, but it should be a better position. Well, he's actually not only missed the pot. Again, my biggest criticism of HAZAD there is not setting himself. You know, you watch that match earlier on and you see how Eddie was playing the steady play and taking his time, and HAZAD there is just in a complete rush to get the shot over with and not setting himself. And well, if Sergeresh can get the breakout and get lucky, and when I say lucky, at least have a decent shot. Well, he's got a shot in the 2. Well, this has to be ultimate punishment for HAZAD, because that was so careless. And even this might settle Sergeresh's nerves if he can take this out. The 8 ball, Let's have a double check. It comfortably goes past the 9. But he doesn't want to be playing the 7 ball where he's running into the 9 and the 8. And he can take care of that now and still pot the 5, but he has to make sure that he doesn't mess about with this 11 ball and trying to get the line in the 8 ball. That needs to keep going, and the pace is good. Now, what did I say about the angle that he was going to have in this 7? He doesn't want to go near that 8 ball. And if he starts messing with that in this shot, he's got to get well away from it. And there you go. Commentator's eye's never wrong. You know, I could see that coming a mile away. And Sergeresh, that's a big, big fail. And you have to be having these things in your head when you're at the table. It's paramount importance that you don't mess with those last 2 balls, or the 8 ball plus the stripe that was there, because as soon as you start nudging into them, you're knocking yourself right out of line. And the only thing that's saving Sergeresh here is where that 10 ball is, because that is not in a handy spot, because there's no way that's going into the side. And it's not on the rail, and it still might be a lifeline. Well, he's called the bank. That looks good to me. That is beautiful. Oh, what a bailout there for Sergeresh. But in the end, he deserved it because of how HAZAD played that shot that let him in. And thoroughly deserved it. But a well played bank, perfect pace, but a dry break this time. But more importantly for Sergeresh, he's back in the lead. Well, is it going to be blow by blow? Who called it 11-10? Was that you, Cobra? You might not be far off the mark. Somebody called it 11-10. I think it was Cobra. Well, the deeper into the match we go, the more likely that score is going to come around either way. But HAZAD is under pressure again, simply because he's chasing, and it always has that wee thing in the back in your mind when you're looking at that scoreboard, but you have to blank that out and just, you know, totally play the table. You're not playing the scoreboard, because what you do in the table is the only thing that's going to affect the scoreboard. And the miss from HAZAD. Now let's have a look at these 2 balls here, because I don't think anything's going there. Nope. I mean, if you're here, you might be able to edge the 11 in, but that's touch and go by the look of it. Looks a bit too close. Well, this is now pretty ugly looking. I mean, HAZAD could have a blast here and try and hit that 9 and open things up. Well, it was a control blast, shall we say, because they're opened up very nicely. Now, problem now is the 7 ball. Other problem is the dwindling amount of balls that are left for HAZAD. And the 7 does go, but he hasn't got there again. He hasn't got there. I mean, it was a bigger window than he thought to get on that 7. And now what he doesn't want to do is hit that 7 and break out those 2 balls in the bottom rail, and he's in danger of doing that. Well, he's avoided it. And more importantly though, look where the 7's finished, because that's now got Sergeresh back against the wall. And Sergeresh is going to have to bite the bullet and maybe try and play the combo to get onto that 7 ball and take the risk of maybe leaving the bank for HAZAD. That's maybe all he's got. He's got to do something to get the lot. Well, he scratched. Oh, that's a total disaster. Goodness me. Well, the gift to the gods for HAZAD. Just as we were thinking we're going to get into some sort of tactical battle, boom. The pocket up and grabs the cue ball, and it's 8-all. But look at this table again. There's one problem ball, which is the 3, and the 10, or 2 problem balls if you're still an open table, but everything else. And that little nudge has done the trick there for Sergeresh. Well, the pressure just mounts and mounts and mounts because both players just 3 racks away, and this table, well, this is Christmas come early. I mean, just pick your way through these, do them in a sensible order. The 8 balls wide open into both corner pockets, and you're only going to get yourself in trouble. And has he gone far enough? Yes, he has done. Drop through onto that 1 ball. And the other big important shot is how straight he gets himself in this 2 ball. Because that is a must, unless he has the angle. You know, like, if I can get my bloody thingy to work. Unless he has the angle like that, where he wants to drop in behind the 6. And this is like, he has to miss the 6 completely here. A little draggy draw shot around the corner, I would think. No, he's trying to check it up. Well, it makes the pot more difficult, and it leaves him the bedhead cut. And you would see one of them at some point. So this is make or break. He's got to be on the 8 ball. The cue ball's going to be heading up the table. Unless he runs into that 13. And he's potted the 6. And he's got the roll in for the lead. Well, in the end, he's held his nerve. Sergeresh. And it's anybody's now. But Sergeresh, only 2 away, and again it's against the break. And that's, I think it's dry. Yep, another driver. But once again, look at the table. I mean, there's a slight problem up top. There's blocking balls in the same group of balls, like for example the 14 and the 9 and the 11, and the 4 balls blocking. No, it isn't blocking. Thought it was blocking the path. I think it's blocking the path of the 9 pretty much. But straight away HAZAD can get himself, I think, across the table, but he's got nothing on other than something up the side rail there. I mean, this is not pretty. You know, he cuts the 10. He has to be coming over to the other side, and if he runs into the 4, he might be scuppered altogether in a shot. This could go badly wrong. He's missed the 4, and well, he hasn't missed the 13. And which is why he doesn't have a shot. He's now going to have to kick this off the rail. And that isn't... I don't think that is covered. Has it covered that 3? No, it hasn't. Well, I'm getting nervy and all I'm doing is watching this. And the only thing I fear is that one of the players is going to sell out and bottle big time at the wrong end of the match. I don't want to see any of them do that. I want either of them to win, you know, with a good run out or something like that. I don't want something stupid happening like a scratch the 8 ball or something daft. You know, for their own sake and their own sanity. Sergeresh has that slender lead. And, well, that 7 ball really is only going into this bottom pocket, isn't it? Unless you somehow got lucky and finished behind it for the side pocket or that top left-hand corner. But this is a big shot. Now he needs to hit that 9, and he's rested on it. He's got a shot in the 4. Well, I reckon, let's have a look. You know what I'd be doing? This is where I would suddenly get a rush of blood to my head. Trying to get halfway up by that 2 ball to drop in behind the 7, and he's gone too far. And now, does he take the bank on the 7 or does he cut the 2? Because this is now heading to running right out of shape here. He draws off the 2, misses a collision in the 14. Well, he's hit the 14, it's not done him any harm. The only harm it has done him is he's got a fairly slim chance of trying to check this cue ball and holding for the 7. He's got to go through with the shot though. See, the pace was going to be the problem. And now the big test of nerves is coming up here for HAZAD, trailing by 9-8, and he's going to have a chance to square the match, I'm fairly certain, or if not, he's certainly going to be in full control, where he can put Sergeresh in a lot of trouble. Well, that's taking care of the top pocket. I think HAZAD's line just on the 14. And you know the biggest worry here is that he's not dealing with those 2 balls up the table and then working in and around the 8 ball. That's my biggest concern. He wants to be getting rid of them. And the other concern is what angle he's going to leave in the 11. Again, he does not want to be running into that 7 ball. He needs to be nowhere near it. Well, I think he just drops this in dead weight. Well, he did commit the cardinal sin and he's got away with it. He's got away with it. But he won't care. It's 9-all. And it's HAZAD's break. Well, something's gone. Don't know what it was, but a ball has gone. Well, this... well, I don't know what... I don't know what the best option is here. I mean... well, let's say you take the solids, or you take the 4. Where's your next pot coming from? He's playing the draw and hoping to get lucky. You see, that is sometimes... well, there is sometimes a point where you just have to try and improve the situation. At least he's still got a shot in the 2. And he doesn't want... again, he does not want to bang this in to try and wreck the table. Well, thankfully for HAZAD's sake, he hasn't really done a lot of damage. Okay, he's blocked that pocket, he's locked it up with his 2 ball. Sergeresh obviously has a shot. But this rack could take a little while to resolve itself. Now a reminder, if anybody's joined the stream and you haven't been keeping the tabs on the tournament page, we have a match tomorrow night, a round 3 match between Jeeves from England and Stubb from the USA, and called the bank. I think it kicks off at 7 PM tomorrow night, and I'll be there for that. Well, I'm not telling you, go and look at it on YouTube. Good evening, Potman. Very late to the party, but you've come at the right time. Sergeresh, well, he's got to really give this a slam. Big power, and hope he gets lucky. Well, that wasn't powerful enough, shall we say. Now, I suppose if he could finish half ball in that 6 ball, you know, if he just finished there on the 6 ball with the cue ball, he's blocking the 2. Okay, HAZAD could kick it in, but he's not really leaving anything easy for HAZAD. I mean, I don't think there's many other options on for him here. But if he could just bank the 9, avoid the 6 and leave the cue ball there. That to me is about the safest spot in the table. Leaving a kick bank. Well, he's called... what pocket's he called here? Oh, this is crazy. Well, he's knocked a 2 in. That was a spot there. Just there. If he could have stunned and left the cue ball there on that 6, the only option was a kick in, which was easy enough to do. Oh dear. Well, now HAZAD has got more work to do. And Sergeresh with just the 1 ball and the 8 ball to go, and HAZAD has to, well, I suppose this is where he's dead straight in the 3 pretty much so. And I think, well, that's not done him any harm. He's got the block. And now HAZAD is odds-on favourite, but he's still got 3 balls to pot. Unless Sergeresh can call a pocket and get really lucky. Well, he's going to kick it and try into the top right-hand corner. So HAZAD now has a test of nerves to get to within 1. No, he's having to cut that 3. Well, there's absolutely no problem playing this shot. You just cut the 3, stun the cue ball off the short rail, back up into the table, and you're on the 6. Not a problem. But HAZAD doesn't see it like that. He's going to leave things at distance, and he's gone out of line. And I don't know why players don't play the right shot at that particular time. There was no problem in cutting that and stunning it off the short rail and back into the table. And look what he's left himself now. Almost scratching. Well, this is the biggest shot of the night for HAZAD. Might look simple and straightforward. And in it goes. And now Sergeresh, maximum pressure on his break, and he's scratched. Well, Sergeresh may well get another go here, because the table again is not sitting nice. But Cobra's sitting with his fingers crossed in Sergeresh's corner right now, so that he can take it hill. Well, that's not really improved anything. It's only opened up the 8 ball. Proper mess in the middle of the table. But HAZAD on the solids, and no shot really other than a very thin cut in the 1. And again the cue ball's just running, and you're hoping that you have a follow-up shot. Well, it should be fairly easy for Sergeresh to... What's the angle like? Well, he can certainly get rid of the 1. And if he just leaves the cue ball there, he's not going to leave much on for HAZAD. I don't think so. Oh, this is a tricky situation. Tricky from the point of view that I can't really see where the safety is, where you're not leaving Sergeresh a shot, but you certainly don't want to be leaving him any kind of shot that's going to allow him to break out that pink 12 ball. And depending on how straight he is in this 10 ball, he might be trying that right now. He can pinch the angle if he needs to. I don't know that. Let's see what the line is and how's his luck. Well, he's got the, whatever that ball is there, he's got the 13 into the side. And these balls all go if you can find that way of getting there. He's got the 15, the 14, but he's slightly the wrong side of the 14. Now how does he get to the 12? Well, let's see, does that 12 go into the side? That 12 goes into the side. I wonder if he's had a look at it. If you finish bottom side of this off that 15, the 12 will go into the side pocket. Past the 11. Well, I hope he's had a look, because the angle he's got in the 15 can get him there. Well, this is the big shot. Presuming that's what he's going to play, and just drop down and get himself in as good a line as he can. That's what he's probably looking at now, this 12 ball. The angle is fine, just to maybe help it with a wee bit of spin, not much, if any. Well, he was never playing the 12 ball there. And he's still got a shot in the 11, but maybe he should have thought more about it and tried to just drop dead weight behind the 12, because he's going to have to get nice. And that is as good as you could expect. Avoided the hook. And don't underhit this. Well, he's picked his way through this. This was not easy to get yourself out. And provided he knocks this in, we're going all the way. Final rack decider, HAZAD with a break. And don't forget, HAZAD was what, 6-2 down or something like that. So he's done well to get back into it, but with the assistance, of course, of his opponent. And now it's anybody's, but HAZAD, like many other players, comes up dry again at the wrong time. Problem in the side, or the left side, whatever ball that is that the 13 again? No, it's the pink 12 and the 4. Yeah, it was a very narrow gap, but I mean, he took his own way of doing it, and the most important thing there, when you see it a different way, is getting it done. And well done to Sergeresh for getting out. So Sergeresh on the stripes. Oh, now, well, he's totally got that wrong, because look at where the cue ball is. He's absolutely no shot, and he's not done anything right in that shot. Not only missing the pot, but the cue ball's totally dead. And I think the one saving grace is that HAZAD's got nothing as well. Okay, the one ball goes, but he's going to have to work hard to get a shot in another one. Now he's at a lash, broke out the 4. But again, that wasn't stroked, that shot. You've got to stroke the ball. You know, you don't want to be having this sort of lashy shot where you can see by looking at it, it's not a controlled shot. But again, HAZAD has got lucky at the right time, I think. Sergeresh might have a shot, but these are dodgy to try and read. Yeah, that's really, really difficult to see that line with such a short distance between the two balls. But once again though, there ain't much doing here for HAZAD. I mean, he's got the 6 ball. Cue ball's going to finish over in the corner somewhere by the 10 ball maybe. Now then, things are different, because I think Sergeresh can see the 14. He doesn't want to nail this in, he just wants to roll through it. Well, he's trying to get on the 12 first of all, and it's one of those testy angles. Maybe he'll settle for the 11. What's that that's up the table? The 9 ball. Well, I mean, stating the obvious, they are all there, you know. It looks as if he's gone down for the 9. Oh, now that he's got to... I think the best thing with this shot here that he's playing is that he cuts that 9, or well, he cuts it like that, and he comes down to here, where he can pot that and get back out. He doesn't want to have to be potting this one and trying to get into a narrow window and avoid these balls here. Let's have a look. Well, the problem is he's stuck to the rail, but he's got it right. And again, the same problem. He doesn't want to be trifling with this 6 ball and 1 ball and 7 ball. And this is where it could go badly wrong. Oh, he's missed the 5. And he's home and dry. And what a pressure out here for Sergeresh. Oh, goodness me. Commentators curse, he's bottled it in the 8. Would you believe it? Who mentioned the twists and turns LS3? What a choker on the 8 ball. And that's another one of those shots where you look at the clock, you take your time, you line yourself up, and you play the pot. And he's given HAZAD a final lifeline. And HAZAD simply has to do it, because the best he's going to come up with will be some sort of hook shot behind the 2 and 3 one way or another, if it comes to it, because they're not going anywhere unless he plays the 4 and gets in behind them. But he's going to have to get rid of the 1. He could play any of those 2 up the table, so the odds for HAZAD to take this out are reasonably tough odds, because he's got to get in a particular spot to be able to get rid of that 2 or 3. Well, a little brush off the 3, but he needs to brush far enough up the table to give him another shot in the 1 or the 7 into this corner pocket down table where we are. He's got to brush through and go up. He had to brush through and go up, and that's, again, you have to see that coming. You've got to go through with the shot. That cue ball's a foot short of where it should have been. That cue ball should have been here, and he's finished a foot short of where he should have been, and then he had a choice of them either way, and he needs to get extremely lucky here, and he hasn't done. And that's another fail of just not seeing the shot and playing the right shot and going through. If anything, you overhit it slightly, and Sergeresh escapes. Well, what a turnaround there. The way that's... I mean, it's not a classic, but it's a classic in terms of how things pan out. But Sergeresh has got to be... He's got to be relieved after choking in that 8 ball, and HAZAD extremely unlucky. But there have been 2 or 3 shots HAZAD's played tonight, as well as Sergeresh. They've made their mistakes, but that last shot that HAZAD had, he had to go through, and he didn't get there, and that's what done him. And the 8 ball was always over the pocket. So Cobra called it right, folks. If you're a late comer, I don't know whether he called the right score though in terms of who won it, but he called it 11-10 to somebody, I can't remember who. But Sergeresh is through 11 racks to 10. A quick look at the bracket, if I can remember what button to press. And we'll see that now Sergeresh is through. He's going to have a bit of a wait, obviously, because of this third round match. But that is tomorrow night at 7 PM between Stubb and Jeeves, and I'll be there for that. Let's go to the event page just to look at what's still on. That's the two matches that are still on. The Stubb match tomorrow night, and then on Sunday night at 7 PM we've got Semi-Pro and Mr. Bill, and I will certainly be there for that one. So, well, I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I mean, there were some not basic errors, but things that you could deal with, and there was the odd mistake made there. HAZAD made his fair share, but the choker one of the night was that 8-ball. After all the hard work that Sergeresh done, he did choke in that 8. He didn't take his time, but at the end of it, the final mistake was HAZAD just not getting there, and the gift for Sergeresh to go over the line. So well done to both players. Go and practice a stun draw. That's the shot to be practicing for this game, or any games that matter. So I hope you can join us tomorrow night. If you can't, it'll be on YouTube, you know that. That'll be the Stubb Jeeves match. I wonder if that'll go without any problems. We'll soon find out. So take care, folks. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. And I'll bid you good night. And take care and stay safe.